Courtney Conlogue swings back in Portugal. Kiteboarding makes it to the Youth Olympics. Paralympic glory celebrated down under. And now in the newsroom, here's Jero Malingri. NC Sports, plunge into the action.
Welcome to NC Sports for another action-packed global edition with full results, but above all, the analysis and the exclusive insight coming from today's very special guest and from our correspondents on the water. Busy lineup as usual, so let's get right to it. WSL, Courtney Conlogue knocks down Tyler Wright for a big match final in Caiscais, while Jesse Mendez defeats Jeremy Flores in a heated final at the QS Series. It's official, kiteboarding is going to the 2018 Youth Olympics. IKA President Mirco Babini joins the newsroom with the inside story. On the NC Sports Briefs, F1h20 GP in Liuzhou, Defì Azimut and Vendée Globe Challenge Countdown, Groupama Race in NewCaledonia, plus the exclusives from Down Under, sailor Girl Nic Douglass with the Aussie Paralympic sailing team, and Michel Dejoie reports from LesVoiles de Saint Tropez. Before we begin, however, the investigation on the death of 24-year-old pilot Massimo Rossi is now ongoing by German authorities. The Italian champion in the 250 and 350 classes lost his life in a harrowing accident last Sunday while racing at the Traben-Trabach Classic. According to local police, Rossi was catapulted out of his boat while rounding a mark and fatally hit a tree on the shoreline. As the news reached the Italian powerboating world and seeped to the media, criticisms now abound regarding the safety of this narrow course on the Moselle River, as well as on many others on the German Championship. We will be keeping you updated on this developing story. The World Surf League season is now down to the wire. Courtney Conlogue delivered the knockout last week in Caiscais for the Women's Championship Tour, while in the men's qualifying series, Jesse Mendez took the win over Jeremy Flores. Next to Portugal, Claudia Casagrande has today's top story.
Punching first with an 8.17 on Wave 2 and adding points to a total score of 13 to 12.26, Courtney Conlogue left Tyler Wright chasing the combo to win the Women's Caiscais Pro last week. As other contenders like Moore and Gilmore lost their shine in Portugal, the two top-ranked surfers are pulling away now, staring each other down in the fight for the 2016 world title.
Yeah, the race is definitely tightened up. I still got a bit of work ahead of me, but you know, it's one step closer, so that's always a positive. And I'm just really happy with my performance this event, and feel like I'm on a good path right now, and just learning from my mistakes and yeah, growing.
Also in Caiscais at the Billabong Men's Pro, Brazilian Jesse Mendez took the crown in an emotionally charged win over French legend Jeremy Flores that has shaken the overall QS standings. Mendez jumps from 44th to 10th, while Flores goes from 18th to 6th. Italian Leonardo Fioravanti remains number 1 overall, with Aussie Conor O'Leary in second. Frenchman Joan Duroux moved up a spot to 3rd and grabbed a wildcard ticket for the championship tour, now ongoing at the Quicksilver Pro France inland.
And linking in with the newsroom today is the president of the International Kiteboarding Association, IKA, Mirco Babini, pro windsurfer, kiteboarder, and a member of America's Cup Team Luna Rossa. The great thing about Mirco is that we can chat from boards to sailing and everything in between. Hello, Mirco, and welcome back to NC Sports.
Hello. Thank you.
Now, Mirco, we saw that surfing has finally become an Olympic discipline. So let's talk kiteboarding now. Of course, a big announcement just last month by you guys at the IKA with the official inclusion of kiteboarding to the 2018 Youth Olympics in Argentina. Give us a little bit of a backroom inside story on that.
Yeah, what I can tell We are really happy in all the IKA, all my board member and all the members of the IKA are really happy to achieve this great success to be in Buenos Aires in 2018. And it's really official, so kiteboarding together with windsurfing and the little catamaran, the NACRA 15, they will be the sailing discipline on the Youth Olympic Games. And now we are still working a lot on having all the format and the rule properly written and to send it to all around the MNA, the Member Nation Authority, to start to develop all the program in all the nation.
Now, Mirco, this is a very important marker for the next step. Realistically, are we looking at kiteboarding making it for 2020 or 2024?
The goal that we achieved to be included on the Youth Olympic Game, for sure, it will help a lot to keep us pushing to be included on the slot for Tokyo 2020 with different kind of board, obvious. So for the Youth Olympic Games, they will use twin tip racing, so twin tip board with a pump kite. For the format, if kiteboarding is going to be included in Tokyo 2020, we propose Formula Kite, which is the highest performance sailcraft around the world. So Formula Kite with foil is actually the format that we propose to be included on 2020 in Tokyo.
Okay, now Mirco, let's briefly take a look at this clip with some of the numbers of kiting, and then we'll be right back for some more of your comments.
It's no secret kiteboarding is one of the fastest growing sports in the world. According to a recent ISAF evaluation report, there are an estimated 1.5 million boarders around the globe, with France, Italy, and the United States leading the way. Technically, kite surfing is classified as an extreme sport, combining elements of surfing, snowboarding, windsurfing, paragliding, and gymnastics. But compared to other extreme disciplines, it's much more practical. The equipment is easier to transport, a full kit costs around 1,500 euros, and it doesn't require as much wind as sailing and windsurfing. It is a sport loved equally by men and women.
From your perspective, Mirco, what is the state of kiteboarding today? What does some of the sales data and some of the numbers say about the status of the sport?
Kiteboarding is really difficult to keep tracked all around the world, but the number that I know is still growing, so it's a sport that's still growing. There is more brand that they start to be the manufacturer for a new board and new kite, and for sure from the beginning when it was a big boom, only a few brands they started building, and it was much more easy to keep tracking all those numbers. Now we have plenty of manufacturers all around the world, and also a lot of small ones. For sure we're gonna see, we will see in all the beaches more kite and more kite, which it means for sure kiteboarding is growing, keep growing in all the directions, from freestyle, twin tip, free ride, waves, and so on. So for sure the market is not going down, absolutely.
Now, Mirco, what about the politics of kite? We had a few revolutions last year, a few reassessments of the various circuits. What is going on now with what is approved and what isn't approved by the IKA and the circuits that are happening?
I mean, first of all, we have all to remind that world sailing is the world governing body of all the sailing discipline in the world. Kiteboarding is one of the sailing discipline recognized by World Sailing, which is recognized by the IOC, Sport Accord, and ASOIF. And IKA manage 5 classes, so that's the structure. And there is many things that happen all around the world, just also because the number are increasing. And every year we are facing in front of some problem to solve. And we, as IKA and World Sailing, we are trying to keep the things clear and start to make much more presence on the communication side to teach all the kiter how exactly the system works and the world governing body what can do for us to preserve our sport and being made it in all the beaches without trouble.
We'll be back with IKA President Mirco Babini right after the break. Plus, from the correspondents, homecoming glory for the Australian Paralympic sailing team with Nic Douglass and Michel Dejoie at LesVoiles de Saint Tropez. The F1h20 rips through Liuzhou. The Defì Azimut has some revelations for the Vendée Globe. Plus, the NewCaledonia for the Groupama Race. Let's check it out on the NC Sports Briefs.
Round 5 of the 2016 UIM F1h20 World Championship saw a return to the top of the podium for Emirates team driver Ahmed Al-Hameli. After a 5-year drought, the Abu Dhabi racer crossed the finish line of the Liuzhou Grand Prix 6.37 seconds ahead of current leader and 2-time defending champ, Frenchman Philippe Chiat. Finland's Sami Seljo captured 3rd place to keep his number 3 spot overall, just behind American Sean Torrente, finishing in 4th. From the hot and humid Liu River, the tour now moves to Abu Dhabi for the final 2 rounds in December.
Racing and performance tests completed in Lorient last week at the Defì Azimut may have shed some light on the true power makeup of the Vendée Globe fleet. Morgan Lagraviere's Floating Safran nailed the win on the 1 nautical mile stretch, setting an 18-knot average speed. In coastal racing, the crew of SMA battled it out to the finish line with Team PRB for the Groix Island Tour. While in the 24-hour single-handed regatta, Armel Leclerc, second at the last VGC edition, reminded everyone who's boss on Banque Populaire.
Groupama, the race around the world's largest lagoon, wrapped up with New Zealand trimaran Vodafone Frank Racing, completing the 654 nautical mile loop around French New Caledonia in a record 2 days, 33 minutes and 12 seconds in real time. Despite weather predictions, the race was fought on flat seas with boats reaching speeds as high as 30 knots an hour. It was the first edition that saw the participation of multi-hulls. In the IRC class, Beau Geste and Scallywag, both from Hong Kong, made the podium ahead of Australian Ichiban. The Super Maxi Scallywag set a new record for monohulls. Banque de Nouvelle-Calédonie took top honors in the ORC, ahead of Bouleg Pau Production and Ketau, the smallest boat with a crew of just 4.
Hi NC sports fans, this is Nic Douglass, Adventures of a Sailor Girl.
Here at the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia with the Australian Sonar Sailing Team and their coach. Oh my gosh guys, finally! Look at this! Look at this!
Fantastic, absolutely awesome event, and we're so stoked with the result.
And I think everyone at home is stoked for you, but possibly none so much as this bloke who's been watching you guys for so many years have a crack at it.
Yeah, look, I'm so proud of these guys. I knew they could do it. We came with a plan to Rio to win. We didn't have a plan to come second or third or fourth. We came to win and we did it. A dream has come true.
Yep, absolutely.
Our back-to-back gold medal kids, Liuzhou and Dan, and their amazing coach, the only back-to-back gold medals ever at the Paralympic. We're struggling to hear each other in here.
Party here at the CYC.
It's a big party. How is this for a homecoming, Liuzhou? I mean, you've had a few of them.
Back to the CYC, where it all started for me, is a pretty magical experience.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, I can't explain to you how much everyone at home was proud of you. I know so many of us were getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning. From the start of the regatta, you were doing us proud too.
Absolutely, and I just think for us, like having the support of the whole Australian sailing community behind us has just been something that we didn't really expect, and something absolutely fantastic.
Final day when you had the protest, and then, well, the second last day you had the protest, the final day you had the appeal, and then you just seemed to just jump straight back in and act like nothing had happened.
Yeah, it might have looked like that, but it didn't feel like that at all at the time.
We've spoken about it off air, and I didn't envy your position at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I had an hour's sleep that night. We were up very late preparing for the appeal because it was going to be very important. After the appeal didn't go my way, I knew I had to go out there and really have a good race just to keep a medal at all. But I knew that if I sailed really well, I knew that to win a silver medal I had to win the race, and so that was the plan. I needed to win the race, but to do that I needed to avoid any kind of match racing situation with the American who wanted to knock me out of bronze. So I knew I had to get away cleanly at the beginning of the race and then worry about winning the race from there, and that's what I did, and it went not just according to plan, but it went better than I ever could have thought it could have gone.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No worries. I'm going to sign off here. This is Nic Douglass for Adventures of a Sailor Girl, signing off from the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia with our Paralympic medalists. Everyone brought home a medal. It's a good day.
Well, always great stuff coming in from Nic Douglass. We're back with Mirco Babini, IKA President. Tell us a little bit about the downside now about Paralympic sailing. We know that they're basically out of Tokyo 2020 because of organizational issues. But from your perspective as an insider, do you think that the decision could be overturned in the coming years? Ultimately, it was never about the athlete's fault here.
Yes, you're right. It's not an athlete's fault. It's been really annoying that we do not have the Paralympic sailing program in Tokyo 2020. But I know that now all the group, which is chaired by an Italian now, appointed by World Sailing, which is Massimo Dighe, is doing really a great job on bringing back the Paralympic sailing program for the 2024. So I really wish him and all the people involved to do the great job and have the Paralympic sailing program back to the Olympics.
Well, we all wish that, and we thank you, Mirco. Thanks for hanging out with us today, and we really hope to have you soon for another kiteboarding update.
Thank you, NC Sport, and let's talk after the last event of the World Kite League.
Sounds good, so we can recap all the results and chat with the champions. Thank you, Mirco. See you next time.
Hello, ciao, thank you.
Wave freestyle and the slalom at the Silta PWA Grand Slam. Can Lingy overtake Oman Air, or will Red Bull spoil the party in Lisbon? While Cliff Divers take on Shirahama, Japan. It's all happening now on the NC Sports 360. Windsurfing pros are in Germany for the PWA Silta World Cup and an Autumn Classic on the Baltic. In the slalom track, the chase is on Matteo Iachino. The Moreno sisters with Mussolini and Traversa are topping wave riding, while Alexandre Cousin won the new foiling exhibition race. The Extreme Sailing Series is now in downtown Lisbon for Act 7 and the penultimate event of the year. All eyes are on the battle at the top between Oman Air, Alinghi, and a resurging Red Bull team. But the new all-female entry Thalassa Magenta Racing with a world-class crew of champions on board could spoil that weekend party. Leading by over 200 points overall, Gary Hunt is defending his cliff diving world title in Shirahama, Japan this Saturday. Mexico's Paredes and Navratil of the Czech Republic still have a slim chance to stop the Briton in this penultimate event of the season. Head-to-head battle for the top instead in the women's camp between Australia's Ifland and Canada's Richard. Nautical Channel's very own classic yacht expert Michel Dejoie was on the loose last week for LesVoiles de Saint Tropez. Michel was in fact on location for the production of 3 specials on this Mediterranean classic, premiering on Monday, October 31st at 21, only on Nautical Channel.
Bienvenue sur NC Sport pour les voiles de Saint Tropez 2016.
Welcome NC Sports to LesVoiles de Saint Tropez 2016. We lived a fantastic edition. First off, thanks to the weather conditions, there was sun every day with thermal winds coming in the mornings around noon, which allowed for some great regattas. Very hard fought and intense, and well then, 300 boats, 4,000 sailors, a show for everyone. Some Wally yachts, J-Class, Maxis, the classics, the modern sailboats. It was a marvelous society.
Des voiliers modernes, c'est un spectacle fabuleux. Maintenant, passons aux résultats. Vous donner tous les classements serait impossible et surtout trop long.
Now to the results. The fleet of 300 was divided into 14 classes. What was amusing was the nationality of the results.
Alors, d'un côté, les Américains ont gagné avec les grands maxi, comme Rambler.
On one side, the Americans won in the big maxis with Rambler and also in the Grand Rig with Spartan. On the other hand, the Russians won in IRC with Frecciarossa. The Italians won in the small classics with Sciolita. The French also won in the big boat classics with the
gagnant les big boats des bateaux classiques avec le français.
The Swiss in the 15-meter G-class with Mariska, proving that LesVoiles de Saint Tropez is truly an international regatta.
Je trouve que les voiles de Saint Tropez sont vraiment des régates internationales.
In a recent Facebook post, U.S. Sailing announced the passing of youth advocate Kilroy Reach on the night of October 1st at age 94. Described as a legendary racer, he led an impeccable life in sailing and business. Kilroy spent the past several years in developing the REACH initiative, a STEM education program designed to engage youth in science, technology, engineering, and math through sailing. He always believed that sailing is a positive activity for everyone. He was a true mentor and a visionary and will be greatly missed, said Jack Gearhart, Executive Director of U.S. Sailing. 52 Super Series, the final showdown is coming to Caiscais. Top-notch racers signed up for the Middle Sea Race. And the Big Wave Tour is back in Maui. All the details next on the NC Sports Calendar.
The 52 Super Series heads to Caiscais, Portugal for the final showdown of the 2016 season from October 11th to 15th. American team Quantum Racing have all but sealed the title after sweeping all 4 rounds, to earn a total of 113 points. Nearest rival, defending champs Azzurra, lagged behind with 180 and will face stiff competition from Swiss team RAN Racing with 191 in the race for runner-up. The Rolex Middle Sea race kicks off in Malta on October 22nd. Boasting a roster of illustrious entries like Vincenzo Onorato on Mascalzone Latino, Erwan Leroux on Fenêtre Cardinal, Giovanni Soldini on Maserati, and Lloyd Thurnberg on Fado 3, the 37th edition of the Offshore Classic around the island of Sicily looks set to be quite a show. The WSL Big Wave Tour kicks off the Northern Hemisphere leg of the 2016-2017 season on October 15th. South African wave master Grant Twiggy Baker leads the standings thus far after a meager first half in the south that saw only one event completed in Puerto Escondido. The leg runs through February 28th and features the Pei Challenge in Maui, the Todos Santos in Baja California, Mexico, and for the first time, the Nazaré Challenge in Portugal.
That's all the time we have for today. Of course, we'll be back next week with all the latest from this wild world of water sports. Plenty of top events and also great personal stories going on as we've just seen. In fact, we'll leave you with this clip just in from France at the WSL Pros. I'm Jero Malingri, and remember, plunge into the action with NC Sports.